Thursday, July 17th, 2025. I now call the meeting to order at 5 p.m. Lisa, can you please take the roll call?
Chair Jacobson Bates, absent. Melissa Bates.
Here.
Committee Member Boyd.
Here.
Committee Member Getz.
Here.
Committee Member Johnson.
Here.
Thank you.
Can we have somebody volunteer to lead the Pledge of Allegiance?
I would be happy to. Please rise.
There you go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The next item is the order of the agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the order of the agenda as presented?
I move to approve.
Can I have a second?
I second.
Having heard a motion and a second to approve the order of the agenda, Lisa, would you please take a roll call vote?
Vice Chair Jacobson Bates, absent. Member Melissa Bates.
Approve.
Vice Chair Boyd.
Good, approved.
Member Getz.
Approve.
Member Johnson.
Approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. We now will move to consent items, and Lisa, can you introduce this item?
Items on consent are typically routine and will be approved in one motion. The chair will call on anyone wishing to address the committee on any consent item on the agenda, which has not been pulled by the committee for discussion. Each speaker will be permitted to speak only once, and comments will be limited to a total of 3 minutes.
We'll start with in-person public comments. Are there any comments from the public? Coming up to the podium, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jim Billington, and I'm the founder of Hidden Wings here in Solvang. I want to express my enthusiastic support for the Danish village under construction.
I'm sorry, that's the wrong item. These are for consent items only. We'll get to that point in a moment.
I'm so sorry.
Not at
That's
all.
fine. We'll
Not at
get
all.
there.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
No worries.
Yeah. Do we have any other public comments on the consent items? Do we have anyone on Zoom? It does not appear to be. Do any committee members have any items they'd like to pull? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent items.
Okay.
Can I have a second?
Approve. I second.
Having heard a motion and a second to approve the consent items, Lisa, would you please take a roll call vote?
Chair Jacobson Bates, absent. Member Melissa Bates.
Approve.
Vice Chair Boyd.
Approve.
Member Getz.
Approve.
Member Johnson.
Approved.
Thank you.
Okay, now we move on to public communications for non-agenda items. And Lisa, can you introduce this one?
This section is intended to provide members of the public with the opportunity to address the committee on items that are not on the agenda. This section is limited to 30 minutes. Each speaker will be afforded 3 minutes and may speak only once. State law does not allow the committee to discuss or act on issues not on the agenda, except to briefly respond or to ask staff to follow up on such items.
We start with in-person public comments. Again, this is on non-agenda items. Anybody in the public care to speak? Do we? No, these are non-agenda items. Not, almost. Do we have anyone on Zoom? No. Now move on to the discussion items. Can staff please introduce item 4A and provide the staff report?
Discussion and input on proposed planning manager director determination on minor modifications to facade and material changes to land use permit located at 1704 Mission Drive, APN 139240033.
Any questions of staff from the committee?
No.
We'll now take public comment.
Actually, have a presentation.
Start with anyone wishing to
We have
speak
a-
in
we have a-
person, then we'll go
we
on
have-
Zoom.
We have a presentation first.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Almost again. My fault. My fault.
Thank you. So before you is an item. It's a little bit odder item, but it's brought to you for discussion purposes. It's 1704 Mission Drive, proposed facade and material changes. So considering majority of these, the DRC members were not part of the DRC, we'll give a little background and go over what is being proposed. So the background to this project is the applicant submitted various iterations of the proposed development back between 2022 and 2023. So the application was actually submitted in July of 2022. In July of 2023, the DRC allowed the item to move forward to the Planning Commission. And in December of 2023, the Planning Commission approved a development plan for hotel cottages. Now, just for edification of the DRC and members who are the public, a development plan was previously utilized as sort of a set of rules and regulations to allow for construction activities to occur. Essentially, it's an entitlement. In December of 2024, a building and grading permit was issued for the site. The applicant, after the Planning Commission meeting, immediately submitted for building permit approval of construction documents consistent with what was approved from the Planning Commission. Construction did commence in December of 2024. It had stopped for a brief period and has restarted in spring of 2025. So to get the DRC up to speed of where this project is located, it is located at the corner of Mission Drive and Elsall Road. It's highlighted in the black outline there. And again, it is currently under construction. So as alluded to earlier, a development plan was approved by the Planning Commission, and there is a set of what we call conditions. So those conditions outline various items such as hours of construction, materials, how landscaping is supposed to look. In this instance, there was no condition for the item to be brought back to the DRC prior to building permit issuance. Although it was discussed at that DRC meeting, it is not. A condition was not included as a part of the overall Planning Commission approval. Now, what was included was a condition known as PLNA 8. And so what this states is the planning manager may authorize minor changes to Exhibit B, and Exhibit B being the set of plans that were approved by the Planning Commission, not to exceed 10% of objective standards. So objective standards essentially are square footages, setbacks, building heights, et cetera. But building heights had to stay at the maximum amount. Or other approvals only if changes are consistent with all applicable provisions of the Solvang Municipal Code, and the spirit and intent of the original approval does not involve any of the following. The first was findings, basis of findings for an environmental document or CEQA document. Second was the basis of conditions of approval for the development. And the third was a specific consideration by the review authority in approval of the planning permit. So the applicant is actually requesting an amendment for the facade changes. The buildings themselves have not increased in size, have not increased in terms of height, have not increased in terms of location. So therefore, it meets the objective standards, but what it doesn't meet is sort of the subjective ones of the facades. So this is a site plan that's before you. The areas that are circled in red are buildings that we'll be discussing in terms of what the applicant wishes to propose to amend. And so the way this will work is essentially, again, the applicant has requested an amendment to be completed by the director or planning manager. Basically, I'm going to outline what the proposed amendments are. I have included recommendations that is included in your staff report, and then from there take comment from the DRC in regards to the proposed amendments, take comments from the public, and then the director will go back and make a determination on what is approved and what is not. Ultimately, in the end, the applicant or any member of the public will have 10 days to appeal the decision, and the decision is appealable to the Planning Commission. Now, the Planning Commission only meets once a month. Typically, it's the first Monday of the month. Currently, we do not have any items set for the month of August. However, considering that the applicant wants to pursue construction and finish up the project as quickly as possible, I would consider a special meeting for this item, considering its importance to complete construction. So what I'm going to do is go over each proposed amendment based on the cottage number or unit number. And then again, I'll turn it back to the DRC. And I would suggest at that point to open it up to, if the DRC had any questions, and then open it up to public comment from there.
So we'll go over a building by building basis.
That is correct. Okay. So the first one is Unit 2, and again, this is all located on your staff report. So Unit 2, the pictures on the left-hand side are pictures that are what was approved by the Planning Commission. The pictures on the right-hand side are essentially what is being constructed in the field. So typically, in normal projects, when an applicant wishes to do a facade change, they actually come talk to us first, and then we give them paths to move forward. But in this instance, the applicant has moved forward. And again, I want to remind the DRC that there's no increase in square footages. So again, the objective standards, the actual location of the buildings, the size of the buildings have not changed. We're just merely discussing facades and colors. So in Unit 2, the applicant has changed it. He's utilized, as you can see on the pictures, it was originally supposed to be stucco. All bricks are utilized on the west elevation. The applicant has included sort of these half timbers that are at the apex of the roof itself. And then also has included some half timbering, but as you can see in the highlighted pictures that are circled in red, some of the half timbering isn't necessarily symmetrical. And so again, we're based on the staff report, we're utilizing the documents that existed at the time that the project was approved. So it was the old general plan, our current design guidelines, as well as the previous municipal code, because a substantial amount of construction has occurred. So city staff has determined that the half logs, while again, our design guidelines discuss a sort of Northern European motif that's available to be approved, it's something that we haven't really utilized since the adoption of those guidelines back in the late 1980s. So city staff is recommending that the half logs be eliminated, replaced with the bricks for consistency with the traditional old world Danish design. We are also I'm also recommending that the number of half timbers be reduced to bring the structure back to scale on the north and east elevation, which is shown in red. And then on top of that, maintain sort of that original color hue. And so the original color hue was a darkish red, brownish color. I've made a recommendation on the color type. But again, that's something that we'd be happy to work with the applicant to pick the color type. But if we're going to use the brick facade only on the two sides, it is almost best to match sort of that color hue that the brick facade has. So moving on to Unit 3. So Unit 3 was originally proposed to be a green color with shutters, dormers on the front. The applicant has changed the color, so they've utilized additional half timbers, and these half timbers are to scale, and they're actually utilized on all elevations versus the previously approved ones. The applicant did add a full dormer on the west elevation, and that dormer does provide a variation along the roof line. Stone is utilized on the facade, and again, another reminder that our design guidelines that are adopted talk about old world Danish design, but also old world Northern European. Stone is typically in line with more old world Northern European. Our design guidelines don't really touch on what exactly they're looking for on the old world Northern European. So therefore, since that is utilized in there, it is a material city staff or the director understands sort of where the concept is going with this, and we are recommending to move forward as is, as proposed on this unit. So again, the half timbering is in line and scale. The dormer works. The portico being eliminated is okay because with the added detail. So we are recommending approval for this unit to move forward. Moving on to Unit 4. The half timbers, particularly above the entry door where the portico was eliminated, don't emulate the appearance of historic old world Danish buildings. So they're too close together in size. And again, the point of the point of the design guidelines was sort of mimic these historic buildings. While the half timbering does look great, it just doesn't mimic that historic look, and nor appearance. The window on the north elevation was moved and relocated. It's more centered with the two windows closer to the ground level, which, again, understanding what the reason and rationale is to provide additional natural light, and it is symmetrical. The applicant is proposing a color change to a little bit more muted, sort of darker yellow or muted. However, making that change does twofold. One, it kind of mutes the half timbers at the same token. So that's one of the great design aspects of old world Danish architecture is you really see the pops of those timbers. And so city staff is actually recommending a color change from the muted yellow and actually using either the same yellow that's proposed or actually the yellow that he's proposed on Unit 2. So again, and we also threw in a couple colors on there as sort of alternatives. So, and again, we are proposing removal of those half timbers that you see on the red circle. Again, those type of spacing wasn't necessarily done as part of a historic old world Danish architecture. Moving on to Unit 5, this unit that had, shutters, portico, stone chimney. In this instance, the applicant has, again, utilized additional half timbering. However, the patterns are symmetrical, and the patterns are consistent with sort of the old world Danish design that's there. They simulate a little more authentic design. The color has also changed. But again, as a sort of this reminder that we do not have an adopted color palette. We're working on it, but unfortunately, that is not adopted today. So while the color has changed without an adopted color scheme, color looks fine. And there's no sort of objective, or there's no standard to compare the color to. So again, with the added half timbers, with the design, with the designs that are included, the additional intricacies on the doors and windows, city staff feels that this unit as designed and as proposed can also move forward as is. So Unit 6 has actually quite a substantial change. The applicant has modified, again, from the approved elevation. With the use of half timbers, the applicant has included half logs on the entire elevation. Half logs are typical of Old World Danish. They are typical of Northern European design, but they aren't what you typically see in a Tudor or Baroque, which is actually the basis of most of the Old World Danish designs. And the applicant is proposing a color known as natural finish. And again, this color is inconsistent with the Old World Danish colors. So it is recommended to utilize a different color shade in either an orange, red, or brown hues, kind of similar to what was originally intended for this unit. Again, colors add some vibrancy to it. But this stone color wasn't necessarily natural in Old World Danish architecture. Moving on to Unit 7, the originally approved project included porticos, shutters, and half timbers. In the proposed amendment, the applicant is proposing to eliminate the half timbers. The applicant has included, added additional windows and details and casings. Again, the color isn't necessarily a muted green as shown in the packet. It's a little bit brighter, has a little bit more pop. But again, there's no approved color scheme. With the additional details on the windows and doors, and even though the half timbers have been eliminated, the fact that this building doesn't really carry any half timbering, whereas a lot of the other ones do, is okay. And so again, the originally approved project, not all the units had half timbering, so this one does not. And again, city staff feels that what's been done is in line with the design standards, the general plan, and the code at the time of approval. So Unit 8 is also a change. So originally a lot of stonework was to be utilized, along with some dormers and chimney vents. Unit 8 now includes a significant amount of half timbering, but also a lot of brick. Brick facades are very much in line with Old World Danish architecture. Half timbering, it could be better, but again, being it's subjective, we could always add additional half timbering or remove it, but the bricks sort of speak for themselves. So this building is in line with the with the design standards. The proposed color is a change from the blue, but it more matches the bricks that are proposed. So again, city staff is okay with the with this unit as proposed. Unit 9 is the unit that you see closest to Mission Drive. So this one has a lot more half timbering, and these half timbers have a lot of bend to them, and they have a lot of interest. Bending of wood is really hard to do back then. We didn't really necessarily had the tools for it. But again, as city staff has pointed out, that we wanted to replicate the authentic Danish design. So we are recommending that there are just too many patterns and too many curvatures for this building, especially since it's visible from Mission Drive. So we are recommending that those half timbers be eliminated and reduced. The applicant has also eliminated dormers and windows, which again, it kind of makes sense basically based on where the unit is located on Mission Drive. However, it loses a little bit of that street presence. So we are actually recommending the use of the window planters, the shades, even planter boxes to bring back those details especially along the street, and those be brought back forth from the original design. So the last one is the chapel, and so that's what a lot of folks have seen. And so the chapel is one of the more prominent buildings in the development. Chapels were typically either of wood construction, brick, stone, but they provided a lot of prominence. And as in design of cities and villages, the church was the prominent epicenter of a community. And so therefore it was given the prominence. Colors that were typically utilized were white, which was achieved through a lime wash calcium hydroxide water, which was applied to stone and brick and other materials. And there's a reason for that. One, it was really easy to get, but the other one is evoked qualities of purity and light, because it's a church. And that's what folks look back to in terms of spiritual enlightenment. The slate roof that was originally proposed was to be one color, but in this instance, the applicant has changed the slate roof to mimic a pattern of the Danish flag with the reds and whites. So knowing sort of how a church is supposed to be and its prominence, we are recommending quite a few changes to this one, is to include the use of stone throughout the entire elevations of the north and west sides, as those are visible from the public right away. If the church should be all stone, then so be it. But again, trying to recognize, what the place of the church was in a village, we want to mimic the same thing here. The second one is the color. The sandstone, darker muted yellow color, just really would do the church as the meeting room a real injustice. And so either leaving as white or utilizing one of the colors that are shown in your staff report, it would be highly recommended. The third recommendation is removal of the color banding of the red, white, Denmark's flag colors on the slate roof. Again, while it looks pretty, it really should just be back to either the natural black or charcoal that was originally approved. And again, the design itself really lends to being the most prominent feature, particularly when the applicant will remove the, if you went on site, there is a wood that's blocking a lot of the windows. Those are all stained glass windows. So once those are removed, this building will really have a big amount of prominence in this development. So what are the DRC actions going forward? So again, the DRC is to provide input on the proposed modifications. So we could take it unit by unit and discuss that. But again, we'll be taking notes, listening to what ultimately you have to say and what the public has to say. Ultimately, in the end, I will take the DRC's comments into consideration and publish out a letter to the applicant, either approving certain facades or denying approval and providing a direction for where to go. The applicant or any member of the public will have 10 days to appeal this decision. And then if it is appealed, again, we will take it to Planning Commission. And that Planning Commission decision can also be appealed to the City Council. So the intention here is to not delay this project as any further than it needs to be, but provide the applicant a path forward in terms of completing this project in a timely fashion. So again, that's the gist of the report, and I will turn it to the committee.
So now we move to questions from staff. Oh, sorry. Now we move to questions of staff and then public comment. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
And then also you can take comments from the applicant who's here.
I'm sorry?
I'd recommend, since the applicant is now here, I would recommend asking questions of city staff, then opening up for the applicant to, if you have questions of the applicant, that would also be the time to ask,
Right.
and then move to public comment.
Any questions of staff?
Well, I have one. Who did approve the color schemes for the buildings originally?
So again, the original color schemes of the buildings went through DRC. And so the intention was that once the DRC had seen it, then it goes to Planning Commission. Planning Commission typically will take into consideration the DRC's recommendation and typically will move it forward, and then it gets approved, and it's based on those colors from the Planning Commission that we review against for the building permit.
Okay.
Other questions? We move on to
Just-
public comment.
Just a comment from what I'm seeing. I would like to discuss them cottage by cottage.
Well, I think we'll do that as soon as we
No, but
bring
I
it back
just-
to the
'cause
committee, yes.
Raphael was saying either as a group or individually. I'd like to,
Yeah, well, I think we should go through them building by building
I
and
agree. Okay,
give our opinions.
thanks.
Public comments. Now, you're on.
Thanks for your patience.
In fact, I'm really glad that we didn't, I wasn't up the first time because I'd be sleeping in the shed. Good morning, ladies, and good evening. Whoosh. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jim Billington. I am the co-founder of Hidden Wings here in Solvang, along with Her Majesty, my wife, Dr. Julie Billington. And I am here of my own accord to express my enthusiastic support for the Danish village under construction on the corner of Alisol and Mission by St. George and Associates. My introduction to the project was an unusual one. My middle son, Adam, is on the autistic spectrum. He is a spry and very curious 28-year-old. One day, as we were passing the project, he pointed and beamed one of his giant grins. I drove in, but with considerable concern, The construction site was, in a way, Adam's paradise. You see, he loves to pick up things, especially debris. He also gallops like a horse when enthusiastic, often outpacing his father. We were greeted, to my surprise, by someone who looked like a workman, but with a certain air of authority. His voice boomed, "Welcome, and what's your name, young man?" Adam, who speaks as though he's speaking into a mirror, responded, "What's your name?" "My name is Ed." "I'm Adam Billington. What's your name?" The workman beamed, "Wanted to have a look around, Adam." Well, he hardly had to ask. Adam was picking up brass screws, bottle caps, pieces of glass with great care, and I followed him as I always do with a little plastic bag for his treasures. Then he galloped around the corner, truly a young man in a young man's candy shop. There were bits of paper and lots of noise, and most of all, a big spirit of welcome. People with autism understand only one language, the language of the heart. You could be the president or the janitor, but if your heart is full of love, that speaks everything. Weeks and months went by. Visitors from Hidden Wings, young adults with autism, which I am privileged to run with my wife, multiplied. We have big round drums, and they love to play them, round, fun drums. The workmen, not just the one called Ed, all became friends. Their hearts were that way. They boomed music like Santana, great for drumming. They would stop and show the chapel, the cottages, the big redwood beams and the thatching. Very soon, we all started to hear townspeople who were calling out over the fence line, "Oh, I love this. This village, I want to live here. It's a hobbit house. It's fabulous." I'm almost finished. Finally, just last week, when visiting with Adam, the man called Eddie, whom Adam called Eddie, he was eager to leave to have dinner with his wife, Claudia. Anyway, Ed asked if we could lock up. He showed us the combination. "It's your place, after all." He beamed. I hope you will join me in welcoming this most welcoming community built by a man who is, in every way, one of us, one of the valley, and as we love to say, it's all good. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any further public comment?
DRC, I want to thank you all for dedicating, volunteering, and giving your time. Important job that you have. I also want to thank Raphael for bringing this project back to this point and back to the DRC. So Solvang is in many ways a design city. It elicits a certain reaction from our visitors and from our residents. It turns out from our residents. But people come back here time after time, generation after generation, because of the experience and the consistency of the experience and the uniqueness of what our town has to offer. And I just would like to make sure that it's acknowledged by our council, our city council, of which I'm a member, that we thought the work that the Design Review Committee does is really crucial and important with respect to the fact that we are a design city with a deep Danish heritage. So I'd like to urge you all to do the work that Raphael has brought back. It's part of our governance process as a city, which says we do have design guides, we do have objectives to meet, and together with the developers in the community, we can get that work done, and we should have the best outcome and the best result. So let me just point out a couple of things. I like the layout of the packet because it shows you what the original plan, design intention was, what got approved, and then it shows you the variance of what you can see today, which is pretty interesting because there's a pretty wide variance. So there are things that happen, as I understand it, in the development process where you need to make accommodations, engineering adjustments, maybe cost adjustments. So we should find room for those things, but some things just simply need to be consistent. There are a couple of things that I wanted to point out. There are some facades that are not consistent on the same unit. There are some design things that weren't pointed out in the packet, which I think Esther pointed out in some sort of communication, which was the thatch roofing needs to be edged in a very specific way, and then some of the timbers, as you just heard, needs to be really architecturally reflective of what's possible. So the last thing I'd say is please just add a few of those elements. Please consider doing this work, and I'd urge you to listen to the suggestions that have represented the variance, and then we can turn to do the work of, really promoting a fantastic property that hopefully, generates a number of overnight guests and helps the city be successful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further comment? One more, at least one more.
Hello, I'm Stephanie Statham. I wasn't expecting to get up here, and so I just want to make sure that it's okay for me to. I'm here to give my opinion on what was presented. Is that it? Is that what is okay
That's
for me
what
to
it-
do right now?
That's what we're here
Okay.
for.
Okay. I just have a couple of things to say. The blue, I'm not sure what building it was, but the blue that was okayed, but the building was supposed to be green. I felt like that blue was a little too blue. I would have preferred a more subdued blue. I think it was 2 or 3. building
Unit
2 or
3.
3. And I wanted to say that, even if there isn't even if you haven't settled on a color palette for Solvang, I would think that if you're building something, you would want the colors to go along with each other. Like there's how many buildings on that thing, you kind of want them to maybe not necessarily blend, but at least complement each other. So you can kind of use that as a reference. And the blue, I didn't think that there was a chosen red color, didn't exactly go with the blue, but I'm sorry, I can't really, and that was another reason why I would say, have the colors complement each other. And I also wanted to say that I'm sorry to see those, the slate on that building, the colors come off of that, because really enjoy so far when I drive by there, I like those colors on the roof, on the chapel. And that chapel looks great. I thought that the buildings behind the chapel are, you can't see them as well when you're driving around that corner. And what I did notice was that the thatch did look rough. It kind of looked like, I don't know, a troll village. It looked like it needed, some to be trimmed. I guess that's more like what Esther was saying. If you look around at the other thatch buildings in town, then you'll see how nicely trimmed they are, and all of they're all the same color. That thatch is the same color, and I would like to see those a different color, something different on the roof for each roof. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
very much.
Any other comments? Mr. St. George? We're good? Okay. Public comment is now closed. bring this item back to the committee for discussion. And as a part of that discussion, our chairperson, Esther, is not able to be here tonight and has given me a letter, which has been now distributed to everybody, that she would like me to read as part of the committee comments. So here we go. Comments for the Design Review Committee from DRC Chair Esther Jacobson Bates. While I wish I could be there in person tonight to join this important discussion, I wanted to take a moment to share some history and context about the, and forgive me if I pronounce this incorrectly, Lillesod project and the Design Review Committee. A bit of background. The Lillesod plans were approved by the DRC back in 2023 and moved forward to the Planning Commission with a clear condition that the applicant return to the DRC with finalized specifications for facade materials and colors. That did not happen. Due to staff errors and procedural oversights, the project bypassed this crucial step and was ultimately approved without input from the DRC on these highly visible and defining elements. That breakdown in process should never have occurred. Like many in the community, I'm excited to see this long vacant corner finally developed. Ed St. George brings creative energy to the project, and we all want it to succeed. But true success requires adherence to Solvang's design standards and to the approved plan. This is not just any project. It occupies one of the most prominent and visible corners in downtown Solvang, and what gets built here will shape our town's image for decades to come. I appreciate that Planning Director Raphael has brought the project back to the DRC with substantial recommendations. This is an essential course correction. I urge the committee to support many of his recommendations and to go further. Take a hard look at the color palette and materials. There is real opportunity here to expand upon and refine those elements to ensure that they fully align with Solvang's Danish design guidelines, especially when it comes to key facade elements. The project is intended to evoke a Danish farming village from 200 years ago. To honor that vision, colors and finishes should reflect the organic, natural hues of the period, as shown in the approved plans. Blue paint was rare and expensive, typically reserved for wealthier homes. Stone was scarce and generally used only in foundations. Consistency in the type of brick would give the project a more authentic and less manufactured look. Half timbering should reflect its structural origins, not just serve as a decoration. Raphael has already noted areas that need adjustment, and there are more on units 2 and 5. The thatch roofing should appear authentic, thick with blunt cut edges, and not rolled at the edges of the roof lines. It may also be worth considering cross timbering at the ridge lines to echo how traditional thatch was secured, as seen on the authentic thatched roof at Copenhagen Drive and First Street. Excuse me. Ultimately, significant deviations from Solvang's established design standards and by bypassing the DRC should not have occurred. Our city's identity is more than aesthetic. It's the foundation of our local economy and community character. A development that truly honors Solvang's roots will benefit the entire community and better serve the applicant's business in the long run. Those are Esther Jacobson Bates' comments. Not necessarily the whole committee's comments, but they need to be in the record. Okay, I would suggest now that we as a committee go through the proposed modifications and the director's recommendations on a building-by-building basis and see if we can come up with a consensus of what we want Raphael to recommend. So, does anybody want to jump in on building 2? Or I can if you'd like me to start. All right. In my opinion, on building 2, the major, number one, let me back up a minute. I applaud the director's recommendations, Raphael's recommendations, and support all of them, with the addition of the bricks being either replaced or sandblasted to a uniform color. If you look, and also on the elevation, the gable elevation above what it looks like at the front door, looks like it's a wood elevation. Personally, I would like to see bricks up there too.
Yeah.
If you're going to use bricks on that facade, use bricks on the whole facade, and they should, rather than the white and red intermixed, I would personally like to see them all one color, and the rest of the modifications as Raphael has directed. Further comments?
I agree with you on that one. Unit number 2.
Charlene?
Yeah, that's fine. I think that's a great idea on the brick. And just also, were we looking at the colors be proposed, Carly's Rose or Cajun Red? I would go with Cajun Red.
Yes, and Melissa?
I agree with all your comments, Rich. Can I add a couple of comments
Absolutely.
in general of the?
Well, let me address Charlene's question on
go
the
ahead.
color. Personally, I like the lighter red color there too, but personally, I think the white looks fine too to me, on the existing pictures. So can we decide whether we're going to approve Raphael's comments with whatever additions and proceed from there for this building?
Yes, I prefer the red.
Okay.
And part of that is because that's in the approved facade, and I want to try to adhere to the approved standards and suggestions as closely as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we agree on the lighter red color?
I believe the Cajun Red was my suggestion, but
Yeah,
Cajun
Charlene likes
red.
the darker one.
The darker color.
Cajun red.
Which one?
Cajun
The
red.
darker color. All right,
Yes,
so we
sir.
agree on the darker color. The uniform bricks, do we agree on that?
Yes.
And how about bricks on the gable end?
Yes.
Okay, we agree on that. Otherwise, as shown and as recommended by the director.
can we ask a question about the thatched roofing, though? I
Sure.
thought that Esther brought up a good question about the thick, blunt cut edges and not rolled. Is that the way it's going to be?
If you look at the right-hand picture up here, where you see a corner of the thatch, it appears that it's pretty well trimmed there, at least on the lower eave. The upper eave where it goes up over the gable looks like it's rolled on that one.
Are they done? Are they finished, the roofing?
I believe it is,
Okay.
yeah.
And thatched is only one color, correct?
Yeah, the thatch is all one color.
I mean, wherever you go and get a thatched roof, it's the same color. This
Yeah.
is the same color.
Yeah.
They don't come in colors.
Right.
That's what I thought.
Well,
I just wanted to
traditionally,
clarify
it's a-
that.
Traditionally, it's a reed.
Yeah,
So
no, this
whatever's
is-
grown in that area is the
Correct.
color that everybody gets.
Correct.
It's all the
All
same.
right.
I just wanted
so
to make sure that,
This
because
is
there was
the
a
way it
comment
will
made earlier about.
For Unit 2, Raphael's recommendations, the darker red color, Cajun red, uniform bricks,
Yep,
and the brick on the eve there.
yep,
Is that correct?
correct.
Okay.
Quick question there,
Yes, sir.
Rich.
Ma'am.
When you say uniform bricks, are we going to brick this?
No, just removal of the
Wood.
half timbers there where Raphael is circled in red.
Right, and
The
extend.
half timbers get removed and then it goes to Cajun red.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Number 3. Again, in my opinion, I would rather see the green instead of the blue. And that's about the only change I would have to the proposed modifications. And Raphael's recommendation is to accept the proposed modifications. Anybody else have any other opinion?
If it's blue or green, I think there's another green unit, so for this one to be blue is perfectly fine with me, as long as they've, because there's another green, there is a green unit.
And if that
Well,
one,
that green needs
Stays
to be
green,
changed, I believe.
Yeah,
Just
of
a
course,
different
of course, but we'll get to that.
Yes.
But in this term, if this is blue,
okay,
it's
so
blue.
you like the blue, Charlene?
Not this particular blue, no. No.
And Melissa?
I prefer, again, adhering to the green as the approved facade, and I don't approve the,
The one other question, I take it back, I did have one other question. The stone that's used as a wainscot there on the top elevation, it doesn't look like the same kind of river rock type stone that we're seeing everywhere else. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, it's not, there's brick looks like on the back end or the front end, and then stone on the side, perhaps?
It's
Is
hard
that
to
what
see
we're
on that.
looking
There's
at?
some better pictures.
I think, yeah, the stone
If
is
we
on the
get
north
back here
elevation.
to unit
Maybe,
3.
Raphael, you could explain if that's the same stone from the
I
north
thought maybe they
elevation.
had it
Here's
out.
unit 3.
It appeared to be the same stone. Again, the angle of the sun and the angle of the picture might differentiate it.
Yeah.
One thing is just to add in that the stones just match, just to ensure
Yes,
conformity.
yes.
The stone on the site should match.
my
All right,
comment.
so, and again, where were we with the blue color? Just to make sure.
say that even if it was like a lighter blue green, you know, there's plenty to choose from
Lighter
here.
blue.
I just
Green,
think it's too much of a robin's egg color.
Correct.
I agree.
Okay, so we all agree on a lighter blue.
Okay, and then I have a question about the wainscoting. I feel like it should be one or the other. So you've got half timber wainscoting and you've got stone in this one elevation where the doors are. And so to me, the project is taking on this cluttered quality. And I
Well,
would
if you
like-
look at these pictures, there is also stone wainscoting on the back elevation here.
Right, but he's got stone and
Right,
half timbers.
right.
And so my preference would be to
Clean it up.
pick a lane.
Clean it up, right.
Yeah.
Clean it up.
Charlene?
Make a choice.
Yeah,
One or the
It
other.
doesn't bother me, so it's either going to be a tie or a 3-1.
Raphael, do you have a comment on those two designs together?
So the answer is
You know,
it depends. Having the stone all the way matched is number one. Number
Yes.
two, to go up all the way to the walls would be preferable. But as Vice Chair Boyd said, the problem is our design guidelines. While everyone can interpret it each and every way, that's part of the problem with them. It's why we're moving away from them. Is that the design guidelines don't clearly state, it needs to go all the way up, needs to go down, et cetera. Although Chairperson Bates is not here, she noted that it's part of the foundation. Typically, foundations are below the facades.
Typically, there's not a lot of stone.
And there's not a lot of
used in
stone.
Denmark because there's not a lot of stone there.
Village.
So if we're going to modify, my suggestion is either have the stone move all the way up that wall, or just remove it.
correct.
That either or.
Correct.
Yeah.
Which again, we could provide some latitude here because the intention ultimately, especially with colors too. On the last one, you recommend the dark red. We provided an actual color choice based on our previous discussions 2 months ago in regards to starting the color palette. We're going to try to leave the colors a little bit, not necessarily ambiguous, but you want a lighter shade of blue here.
Yeah.
So we will say a lighter shade of blue and sort of provide a little bit gambit, but at the same token, it's what ultimately happen is I want to see a color test and essentially have the applicant have some control of that color
Well,
because
and
the applicant knows what's best.
Well,
in
and the
terms of
basis
how the
here is we
color
don't
goes
like this
there.
blue.
Right, and that's what I'm hearing. So,
As far as the stone wainscot, like I said, I don't really have an objection to that. There wasn't a lot of stone use in this area at that time. There's just not a lot of stone in Denmark.
Yeah. Now, in hearing further discussion, I would like to have that on that one elevation with the door. I'd like to remove that stone wainscot.
Remove the stone. It's on other elevations as well,
But that's okay.
Okay.
Because they're.
just not that
they're
one.
consistent
Okay.
Within the elevation.
Jennifer and Charlene?
I mean,
It's a lot of, work to remove that and cost, I'm sure. So, I'm fine with either way.
Okay.
Well, Mr. St. George isn't here, but if you build it the way it was approved in the first place, you don't have a lot of expense.
This is true, right? You're right, but
I just want to see the stone match. If you're going to have
That's all
one
that matters.
stone on it, then match it with
So,
the other
do we leave the
stone.
stone on this elevation by the door, or do we ask him to remove it?
if it's the same stone, I'm fine with it.
Me too.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so the stone stays as long as it matches other stone.
Correct. On the same
And we have a
building.
lighter blue color is our recommendation. All right, number 4. In my notes, basically, I agree with all of the proposed modifications. Including the muted yellow color, which is the one I'm assuming is up here next
Yes.
to the picture.
Unit number 2.
This is number 4, yeah.
Yes.
And that color. So
Same
basically,
yellow.
I have no objection to any of the proposed modifications.
Correct.
I agree.
I agree.
I agree.
Oh, that was an easy one. Okay. Everything the way it's been proposed by the applicant. Number 5. My only personal concern with that is there's too many half timbers. And the elevation that does not have the red color but shows the front door, all those little X's going up the wall, I would get rid of.
Yep.
As
Too
well
much.
as the X's above the wall.
Yep.
And other than that, I'm okay with number 5.
Yeah,
Excuse me?
Correct. It does, yeah.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
also would wonder too, why there was so much elimination of the shutters. I really like shutters on these windows, and I think it would add a lot more character, so maybe that would be a solution to so many.
The shutters don't really bother me. They're not
I
No,
don't
I
operable.
like shutters,
Yeah.
that's my point.
I know.
I think shutters
I
are
don't care
great.
either way. Color's fine. I like the color.
It's another reddish one, but,
I like the red.
Other than the shutters, do you have any other
no, I
concerns?
think everything else looks good.
Okay, so if we get rid of a bunch of the half timbers, we're all good?
We're all good.
We're all good.
We're all good.
Fix. Is there just an overall thatch fixing? Is that what we're asking for too on each
Let's
building?
put that as an overall note
All
for
right.
all of them, if we can,
Fix up the thatch on each
yeah,
building?
trim the edges of the thatch.
Make it look more like a
All right.
thatched
I have a-
roof?
I have a follow-up question on
Yes.
the thatch and the roof lines, and this probably doesn't fall into DRC, but there's no way to convey rain away
To
from
convey what?
the edge, the rain, right? So when it rains, there's no gutter.
There's no gutter, no,
There's,
no.
Just
And
like the building on the corner of
And so,
First and
You don't, I don't think
Copenhagen.
you see a lot of sheet metal gutters in
well, I know,
farming villages.
I just feel like, the explanation we got as to how the water was going to be conveyed away in a storm, and, whether there were sumps or gutters or,
I think that's site grading, and it's probably not within
That's
our.
not
no,
our-
no, I
yeah,
agree.
not
I
our
just feel
thing.
like, if I was a guest there and it was raining, you would get a neck
Well,
full of.
We'll give them
rain.
all
Right,
rain boots.
yeah.
All right. Would you put that in the?
Give them
notes, please?
clogs. We're not giving them boots. We'll give them clogs.
Okay, Unit 6. Let's see. In Unit 6,
Unit 6, everything should match. We've got too many
I,
things going on.
Yeah.
again, I agree with basically all the modifications, with the exception of the color. I don't like the natural color. If you look at that, I mean, and I agree with, I should say I agree with Raphael's recommendations. Half logs to be eliminated and replaced with bricks. And the end of that building is just gray plaster with stone inserts. It's hard to tell in this picture, but there's a few little chunks of stone scattered in the elevation there. We saw it when we happened to take a tour the other day. And I'd rather see that painted and smooth plaster.
I agree.
I don't mind the rocks or the facade of it, but the color, it should be painted. I think I like the rock.
Charlene?
It's kind of,
Yeah, I'm okay with the rock and the logs. I think it's the color that really needs to be changed.
So if it was painted,
Yeah, I think it would pop.
you go along with the rocks and eliminate the half logs on the side.
yes,
Definitely.
for
Replace that with
sure.
plaster.
Yeah.
That looks more log cabin-ish.
And which of the 3 colors are we,
Well, when
I
you
don't
look at
care.
them over here, it's a lot different than on here. So I don't want another red-ish color. I think either the smoky
from
sand.
the one on the
chase
far
mauve,
right
yeah.
I
there?
like the chase moth.
I like what they
'Cause I think
suggested.
It would complement the stone,
I
actually.
don't
the
think it
chase
needs to
moth.
match the other building.
No.
No,
It would be
uh-uh.
nice not to have so many of the
but-
same
Yeah.
hues.
So do we like the color on the far right,
I would say chase mauve with the
like
stonework. would
the
look-
mauve one?
I do
Like
too.
smoky salmon, but I'm.
And it
I'm
also
fine.
is
Either
what
way.
was first proposed,
Yeah.
Either way,
so.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what's your preference, Jennifer?
um,
We've got smoky salmon and mauve.
are we picking those? Not
We're
really.
recommending.
Recommending.
Yeah, no, I like the smoky salmon or the chase mauve. I think it's fine. I like the
Okay,
colors
either one
that-
of those two, I think, was
Yeah.
acceptable to the committee.
I just want the building to
All right,
one look.
number 7. Are we all done with number 6?
Yes, I
Any other
believe so.
comments? All right, number 7. Let's see.
If
The
you're Shrek,
green,
this is great.
if this is Shrek, this is amazing. This is amazing.
When you get a different boss, things go quick.
Oh my gosh.
Besides that, it's dinner time. I'm
Is that
hungry.
what it is?
Okay.
This is fine except for the color. But I like the color that the director recommended, the little bit of a darker green, because
The
unless
one
you're
up here on the
Shrek.
top, next to the picture?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I agree with that. I agree with all of his
Yep.
proposed modifications with the exception of the color.
Yep. Number 7 is
He
great.
said he was going to train vines up
He's
that
going to trade,
elevation.
Mr. St. George's comment was he trained vines all the way up the wall, and this green then provides a backdrop for holes in the vines.
Okay.
Nice.
But I think, I don't ever seen a vine that color.
I don't think I want it
So
like
I would
Shrek
prefer the
color.
darker green as well.
Yeah, a little bit darker would be great.
So we're good with everything but the dark, but the color.
Correct.
Okay,
The current color.
man, we're flying through this. All right, number 8. Elimination of the stucco wall, elimination of the chimney, elimination of shutters, brick throughout, change facade of color to make much darker reddish hue bricks. Again, my main comment is the bricks should all be the same color. You got a lot of white brick and darker brick scattered in there. And rather than replace them, I know you can sandblast them and make them the same color, but that would be my concern.
I think this was, I haven't seen this unit. Did you guys see this unit when you visited?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I was just curious if you saw this in person, this
Yes.
unit. Is the brick not matching? or
Well,
is
you
it?
see in the colors, there's a lot of white-faced brick in there, which is typical for used brick in most construction, most modern construction. But I don't think it is what we're trying to do here. And there's some darker brick in there too on some of the colors. Some of the elevations, I mean.
As far as Unit 8 is concerned, as long as the brick is matching in
Wow.
terms of even with the white, like the way it is now, or how it looks on this picture, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I
So you
think-
guys are okay with that?
Yep.
Yeah, and it's
As
just-
long as it's matching all the way around.
It's the
yeah,
same all the way around the building, you mean?
Is it?
Yeah, it's just hard to tell because of the lighting.
Correct.
But I agree that if there were different brick, then it needs to be matching or sandblasted so that it all looks the same.
On the one building.
But I think it's
Yeah.
a
I
lighting
think it's all
issue.
matching, but maybe not. Okay, so then I agree with, I think Unit 8 is great.
Okay, Charlene?
Is the window colors to be made to stay blue?
I like them blue.
No, but that's a paint, that's a tape to
That's what
make
I
sure.
Yeah, think
But I
that's
like 'em
fair.
blue.
Okay.
It's a-
It's nice.
It's kind of a nice blue, but I think
Yeah, I
it's
like
clear as
it.
tape. So we're good with building 8 the way it is?
Yes.
Yeah.
As long as the brick matches.
All right. Number 9, the proposed changes are additional use of half timbering, changing the facade to the darker yellow, elimination of the dormers, elimination of the upper windows. I agree with Raphael's changes on eliminating all the excessive half timbering.
I think they were using this building to test
I
everything out.
also agree with Raphael's change on planter boxes under the windows. This is a key building. This is the one that's
Correct.
faces Mission Drive.
Yes.
And I really don't like that color. I would much rather see the color that was in the proposed, it says use of sunrise light yellow color on
Or
the
lemon
approved drawings. This is, according, again, to Mr. St. George, who's gone, the same color as on the Rasmussen store.
Yes.
And his comment, when I told him, hey, I like everything you're doing, but I don't like this color, was it'll fade over time to a brighter, different color, and I agree with that. It will. I've been in this business for all my life. It will fade. But why not make it the color you want now?
Right.
Rather than 5 years from now, end up being the color that you want. So that would be my comment.
Can we recommend a couple yellows then? That would work better?
Absolutely.
Go back to the,
Lemon twist, citrus, goldfinch. Any of those work for
Which ones?
these, right?
Those all work for me.
I don't like the goldfinch, but I like the rest of them personally.
Stay away from the gold.
I like the goldfinch.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, first two and the last.
All right.
Okay.
All right, so we recommend eliminating, Raphael, all your half timbers for all the reasons you gave. And those three colors, could you read those off again?
Lemon twist, citrus. You did not like the goldfinch.
No, I don't.
Okay.
How does a lively yellow? I know
like that
it's a little
one,
bit
yeah.
harder to shade. I'm looking at it now.
Is there a sunrise color on there? That's what was approved.
Sunrise is similar to the lemon twist.
Oh, okay.
That works.
The glittery yellow is a little bit. It's way muted with white. We should have brought the color samples because we have them all in.
I'll let-
We have some.
Oh, the
I mean,
actual
yeah, we have
chips.
these two.
Tried to bring them.
Yeah.
I'd even go with one of those.
Yeah, one of those is nice too. So even like the glittery yellow or the icy lemonade, like even a muted yellow would be pretty.
This is the most visible of the bungalows.
Most inviting.
So then we want to stick to the lighter ones up here.
I would.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you,
I agree.
did you see?
Okay.
Okay.
Do you need to see?
No,
Would you tell them again?
Glittery yellow, icy lemonade, optimistic yellow, or lively yellow.
Those are our preferred colors. Okay. Anything else on building 9, excuse me? Addition of the planter boxes we agree with, and the half timbers, as Raphael noted them, we agree with. That's it for 9?
Yep.
All right. The chapel. The director's recommendations are the use of stone throughout the entire elevations on the north and west sides. Continued use of the stained glass. Elimination of the existing color banding on the roof to be all slate, uniformly slate. And revise the structure color to one of the colors below. I agree with all of that personally, but I kind of like the color that's on there, I think is okay, the paint that's on there. And it is going to be repainted to a little bit more of a cream color, I think. But other than that, I go along with all of the director's recommendations.
Yeah,
Other comments?
we should just put in language saying the final color should be the cream.
We can do that?
Yeah.
Is there definitely an elimination of the bell tower?
That's what I was going to ask, because I think the bell tower would really,
Was there a reason for that, Raphael?
The bell tower would be a huge
I love it.
structural change.
I love
Yeah,
it.
no reason was given on why the bell tower was eliminated. The thing you have to sort of call, and when you go out, especially when you go out inside. Usually 9 times out of 10, the church would be the focal point, the chapel would be the focal point. It's not the focal point here. It's the windmill.
Right.
So
right.
So while the bell tower looks great in practice of
Church going.
the design, ultimately at the end, the bang for the buck is the windmill.
Got it.
And the windmill did pivot. There was a change in the field of a degree change of it. So now it's in the original one. It was off kiltered angle wise. Now it's actually dead on corner wise. So
Great.
if you just stand on the other side of the corner of where Chomp is, and you flash a picture, that is what
It'd be lined
exactly
up
your
with the
eyes
windmill.
catches is the
Yeah.
windmill. So
Perfect.
as much as I like the bell tower, the prominence, the entry feature that is the windmill really does take the cake on this development.
Okay.
Which is kind of what you want, because ultimately, when this thing finishes, as it pointed out, as many you hear a lot of folks on social media and talking in town, this is quite the gateway, and this will likely become one of our more prominent pictures that
Yeah,
you'll
this-
see displayed.
Correct.
This project's going to be in every picture of Solvang from the time it's built on.
So with that being said, yeah, the bell tower was great,
It was
but
great.
the the change in angle in the windmill that was done in the field. And as sort of alluded to earlier, there are changes in the field. It happens in construction.
Sure.
And those type of changes we recapture as a part of what's called as-built. But the reality is that windmill is your $1 million photo
To
op.
go back and try and add a bell tower at this point would be a major concern.
It would,
Yeah.
and very similar to the comment about adding the half timbers on the structure and roof lines. Yes, that would be great. However, I would have massive concerns on the structural integrity of the roof structures, particularly on the type of wood
No,
that's used.
I wouldn't recommend that either.
No,
Raphael,
no.
I have a question about the windmill.
Well,
and
we're
it-
not,
Oh, I was
we're
just,
not looking at the windmill today.
No,
I
but
assume
like-
we'll get the windmill at some future point.
We will. So we'll get into that in a minute.
yeah, as part of the tour, I was just.
Oh, you
wondering
didn't?
if
It's right on the
consistent with
corner.
scale, as
amazing.
approved.
Yes,
Okay.
the windmill, yes. So the like I said, the only change that occurred, and this was done when footings were about to be poured, was just the angle change of the structure, to which I concurred in the field prior to the footings being poured, that the angle change was best.
Great,
For our
thank
other
you.
committee members, we were told that the part of the windmill that faces the corner is going to be walled off so that the public can come up to the front of the windmill without entering the rest of the site.
Oh, great.
Wonderful.
And the windmill, will it actually be a working windmill?
Yeah, it
That'd be
will
really
be. We
cool.
saw, Melissa and I saw the blades for the windmill and the structures and all that kind of stuff. It's a pretty heavy-duty
cool.
windmill.
It's very cool.
And the machinery,
If there's ever a windstorm, go stand under that.
There you go.
So
Perfect.
I want to revisit the chapel.
Yeah.
Um,
Question.
It sounds like the cream color is what the DRC
I
wishes
like
to go.
White snow. I like white.
Not quite as bright a white as it is now.
Right.
Yeah, your creamy whites would be great.
As long as it's.
I like your suggestion.
Right. And then
And then how about the stained glass? I was going to ask you about that. Is that in all the windows?
Yes.
I believe, yes, it is.
Yes.
Okay, 'cause it has to look like a chapel,
And if you
right?
look-
That will
Right.
distinguish
If you
it.
look at the elevation here, there's 2 stained glass windows there,
Right.
but in reality, there's 4.
Okay.
Right.
There's a big stained glass window at the end.
And is it true the stained glass, the big one, I think, came from Denmark, didn't it?
Yes.
Great.
We
So
were told it's beautiful, but it's covered with plywood right now, so nobody.
Oh,
it's trust me, it's
it's
pretty
gonna be
nice.
Beautiful.
for those that have had the
Exciting.
luxury of viewing it, it's rather
It's impressive.
beautiful. So I do want to revisit the slate roof just to get the DRC's input, sort of begin to wrap up this item.
I vote for eliminating it.
All right. Have we run through all of them? I think we have.
Well, what's your opinion on the slate? Do you like the band?
On the slate, oh, no, I prefer the slate to be uniform, personally. Everybody else?
I'm on the fence about it. I really like it, but it's on a chapel. So
Right.
I'm like, eh.
That's where
So
I'm,
then I say, okay, if this is a
On
chapel,
the other hand,
true
the chapel's the
then-
center of the community
then
and
it-
all of that.
Yeah, I know. So let's go for eliminating it. I agree then.
I agree.
That the band is,
Eliminated.
you like the band?
No,
No, you don't like the band.
eliminate it.
Unanimous.
Unanimous, so we don't like the band.
Only because it's a chapel. Otherwise, I say yes, love it.
And the other
I
problem
agree.
is that it wasn't on the original permit,
Great.
Eh,
spontaneous,
one half doesn't hurt it.
so.
But
Any other,
So
and we've been through all the buildings really
yeah.
quickly.
So
I'm
as for
amazed.
the windmill.
what do you,
So yes, the windmill was left off. City staff will be working with the applicant. We did, to the applicant's credit, the applicant did bring, once we notified of what was going on, he did come very quickly. And the applicant did also invite all DRC members on site for a tour. So city staff will actually work with the applicant on the colors, but we do want to see sort of the final colors and then bring that before you, a very similar fashion. So that way, again, knowing that the windmill is kind of the most prominent item. But again, as mentioned earlier, the intention here is to not slow down this construction process.
Absolutely. It's going to be the most visible piece of a very visible project.
Yeah, and so the applicant has taken a little pause during the summer for construction, but is itching to get back and going, and we want to see the site hopefully cleaned up and hopefully wrapped up before Yule Fest. So the quicker we can make these decisions, the better.
Agreed. So unless, I guess if there are any other comments or questions,
Yeah, I have some comments.
okay.
So, thank you for the tour. I really appreciate Ed's enthusiasm. You're a great salesman. I thought that, it is a wonderful project. My issues are that some of these changes feel spontaneous, and what I really want to guard against is this place becoming sort of a satire or a kitsch. I want everything to feel harmonious. In the plans and the approved plans, it feels harmonious, and some of these last-minute changes have felt like, great ideas, but there's a specific process for making these changes. And it not only applies to this applicant, but it applies to all future
Sure.
applicants.
Absolutely.
And I want to adhere to that as best we can. And if there are changes, then there's a process. Raphael and Lisa are really qualified to make those decisions. It doesn't have to come to the DRC with every small item, but it should come before planning with changes. And like you had mentioned, the final plan, there is a process and there's a timeline. So that would be my goal, is to make sure that this has harmony and cohesion, that I want it to be a real asset to the community. One minor thing that Ed mentioned was that there was going to be a prominent statue right near the windmill. Was that? Anyway, I don't know if the DRC is involved in that, or again, if that's more of a, because it's not facades and it's not a building, that we don't have.
I would think we probably would be. And again, the windmill will come up at another
Right.
meeting.
So those are just my notes from that tour and from this session, is that I really want this project to show harmony and be an asset to the community.
Anybody else?
No.
I think we probably need a motion to approve the recommendations that we made.
No motion.
We don't need,
Oh, yes.
But before, just procedurally,
come up to the microphone.
if you want to, please open it back up, public comment,
Okay,
and that way it'll allow the applicant to.
all right. Well, then we'll open it back up for public comment at this point. Mr. St. George.
Thank you. First of all, I appreciate everybody's effort in volunteering the time here. But I do want to say something that this is my last lap of development, and I am not going to be safe with it. I'm going to do projects that I'm passionate about and that I think will make a difference, and a positive difference. What I'm hearing here today is that this is not going in the direction of positive. When I first painted the Rasmussen's building, we got hits. I mean, I literally had people calling my phone, threatening. It was crazy. Never seen anything like it. Now it's probably the most photographed corner, besides the other windmill. I mean, Los Angeles Times chose to pick that for their drone shot. Flying Magazine chose to pick that corner for their drone shot. It wasn't safe, and I took a lot of hits for it. The corner I'm building right now is not safe. I know what was picked last year for the most beautiful building in Solvang. It wouldn't be what I picked. But the fact is that when these cottages were built by farmers, they were built with what they had, the material they had, what material they could gather in the areas in which they could gather it. They weren't going to be the same. And I'm striving very, very, very ardently to make them so they do not look the same. Each one should have a story behind it, and I fully intend on having a story behind each one of these as we give any of the occupants or the guests that stay there. They'll be made up stories, but they'll be fun stories. The chapel, I'm a little blown away that you would talk about a chapel not having the red and white stripe. The very chapel I was married, the church, in fact, it wasn't a chapel, which was downtown Copenhagen, and I would encourage, Esther didn't want to look it up. You look at that church that I was married in, that's where I got the idea of the red and white stripe to start with, was the very church that I was married in. The cabin we stayed at, the log cabin we stayed at, which was a horse ride in a carriage from that church in Copenhagen, was a timbered house. It was a round timbered house. So they do exist, I can tell you that. I lodged in them, and I was married in one. The project, I'm sorry Esther doesn't like the thatch, but I'm telling you, thatch, you've never built thatch before, and this is about as good as we can get the thatch. She has given me many comments where she doesn't like the thatch. The thatch that you're asking me to compare to in the city of Solvang is real thatch. If Raphael and the fire department would give me permission to use real thatch, I would love to use that. But unfortunately, the fire code prohibits that, and this thatch was manufactured to the closest color they could, all right? And we are doing the absolute best we can to get this thatch as smooth as Esther would like to see it. The colors that we have picked, every single one of those colors was approved by the DRC.
Yeah.
The blue that somebody didn't like is the exact same blue as the windmill that sits right behind us right now. The orange that you don't like is on Alisol. Every single one of those colors is from an existing building that this committee has approved. Am I going to make everything look uniform? I'll refuse. I will absolutely refuse. I will stop. That project, I do not want to be safe. I want that project to look like the genesis of Solvang, where you had a bunch of very, very, very poor farmers were doing absolutely everything they could to build shelter for themselves. The chapel does not look rustic and will not look rustic because they would have put all their attention and monies into that because what it stood for, and that's why I'm making it the way it is. The windmill, the apparatus that we have devised for the windmill wings to actually turn, all right, will turn. I'm not asking anybody for how fast they'll turn, but they will turn. And I'm going to do my best to make them look real. They are aluminum. Once again, I have to have an engineer's stamp on everything I do, all right? The timbering is absolutely meant to look whimsical. Absolutely. There's no question about it. I like what Earl Peterson has done in the community. I see some of his bricks that wave up and down. I think his buildings are the most beautiful buildings in town. I really do. Are they authentic? No. Nobody would have taken brick and waved it up and down. But is it something for the tourists to really enjoy? It is. We don't have an ocean. We don't have a zoo. We don't have a lot of things that a lot of towns have. What we have are places to shop and to feel good and to feel comfortable, all right? We are building photo ops, and I don't want something that people just walk by and go, what is that? And I am going to put a statue up, okay? And there's a statue of a Danish farmer welcoming people into the community. He's 6'6". He's wearing Danish farmer clothes from 2 years ago. I'm having it made right now, and I will put it up. If you want to come after that statue, that's fine. But I want this community to be known for its uniqueness, not its safety. It is a beautiful little town. And I can assure you, like I said in my very first meeting, this project will never make $1. It will never make $1. This project is my gift to the community, and I hope it is taken as a gift. I appreciate every one of your comments, but I will not build safe. I just won't do it. And I know that's important. Does anybody have a question for me?
No.
No, I think we all agree, Ed, if I can call you Ed, that it's an iconic development. It's going to be in every, as I said to you the other day, it's going to be in every picture of Solvang from now on. It's going to be what Solvang's known for, and it's a lot better than a vacant lot that used to be there. My cousin used to pump gas at the gas station that was there.
Yep.
We all appreciate, at least I certainly appreciate what you're doing. We just have a difference of opinion on some of the colors. It goes from our recommendations, which is all we can do, to Raphael, to I believe the planning committee, so you have another chance to object if you want to. Everybody's got the same goal, to make this the most beautiful project we can.
I agree.
You know, and it's just a difference of opinion maybe on how to achieve that. So I hope you don't feel like we're trying to
Pick on.
negate what you're doing in any way. I know it's never, from what you told me the other day, I know it's never going to pencil out dollar-wise. It can't if we only doing the rentals the way you can. So we appreciate, I certainly appreciate it, and I know we all appreciate it, and we, just like I said, we just have a difference of opinion on some of the colors.
Okay.
No, I agree also. I wish we could have taken a tour together as a group. I know I reached out, I just didn't hear back, but I really like to do that in the future. And I wish you would have spoken earlier about all the things you just discussed. It would have, I think made a difference in some of the decisions too. But I agree. I don't think there's a lot of changes to be made. I really don't. I think that what you have developed is just incredible. But just keeping it to the authenticity like you want to, I think that's our objective here, with the town. But it's going to be really amazing.
I hope it is. I really hope it is.
I think about 80% of the changes we recommended were what you had proposed anyway. The vast majority of them were,
Yeah.
so.
And most
we're-
people that come to town are just
What's
like
that?
what Ed said, they come in and they're just looking for a really unique, different
Yeah.
experience. And they do take a lot of pictures, as you know. And so that's, I think, huge to have that right on the corner. Yeah, I'm excited about watching it grow. But
All right, thank you.
it's up to the planning now, director, to move forward with whatever his recommendation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Any other committee member comments or city staff comments? No? I believe we can adjourn then.
Actually, I'll quickly do a director's report. So we do have a meeting in August, or yes, this is July. You do have a meeting in August. It's actually going to be right now scheduled to be a light meeting. Pick up our color palette discussion. Lisa's been working feverishly on getting color samples, and those are all been put together. And then we will also then pick up permanent signage. So again, the two items will be back on your guys' plate, and that will conclude my update.
All right. Any other comments from anybody? Meeting adjourned. That went about 3 times faster than I thought it was going to.